Hey girl, hey, what is up, y'all? And welcome back to the Good Guy Girl podcast. Oh my gosh, y'all, it has been a year, well over a year since I last recorded my last podcast episode. And let me tell you, a lot has changed. And I'm so excited to get into what a little bit of that lot was with y'all. But first, if you're new here, what's up? If you've been here, hey girl, hey, and thank you so much for supporting the Good God Girl. Whether I was away, y'all, it just blows me away just looking at past or statistics on the podcast app and seeing that just within this past month, 43 people listened to the podcast, and I have not released in over a year. So I'm so appreciative of just the continued support of the podcast. I'm so happy that, y'all are here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you know you wanna. Go ahead and subscribe to the Good Guy Girl podcast on the YouTube, on all your other favorite platforms, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and whatever other things there are. Girl, come on. Speaking of new, come here. My puppy wanted to interrupt our podcast session to introduce herself. Her name is Yam. Say hi, Yammy. Say hi. Okay, I guess she's going to sit here with us if she's a good girl. So, as I mentioned, there are a lot of things that have changed over this past year. So many things I said hello to, so many things I unfortunately had to say goodbye to. But one of the biggest things, the biggest accomplishments that I got to say deuces to was nursing school. That is right, y'all. I have officially graduated from my nursing program, and it's a whole registered nurse over here, okay? Emphasis on the register because I passed my NCLEX the first time, and that's no shade for anybody who took it more than once, but I am very proud. I am very happy that I am done with nursing school because let me tell y'all, it was a hot mess. It was a struggle bus. It was all the things. And I'm going to get into that on another day, not today. Today we are focusing on the fact that I am a practicing nurse now. I'm so excited, y'all, to be in this field. Like, y'all were there with me from way back when I made that first life update video telling y'all how I applied for nursing school and I did not get in. I was denied my acceptance, but now just looking 2.5, almost 3 years later, and I'm done with nursing school. I passed with high honors. I'm super excited about that. But yeah, I'm a practicing nurse now, and don't come see me. Y'all don't want to see me on the unit that I'm on. I don't want to see y'all on the unit that I'm on. But for anybody out there who's watching, who's listening, like this is really just a testament to like the power of God and just knowing that like, okay, it may be a no right now, but no one else's no can, you know, tell you otherwise when God says yes, like a delay, not denial, okay? My acceptance was delayed, not denied. And, time goes by fast. So whatever it is, wait on the Lord. I don't know who needed to hear that, but I just had to say that. So, yeah, that's one thing that has happened over the course of this past year. And one of the reasons why I've been gone. Two, if you couldn't tell by, the way I just been positioning my hand or whatever, it's a wife. It's a wife. Y'all know I used to introduce myself every podcast as Bria M. Carey, but I'm here to tell you that it is now Brianna Ferguson because it's a whole wife. My husband, or whatever, my husband proposed to me, y'all, at the end of last year, and it was so cute, y'all. I'm gonna tell you about it. I might even throw some video up in there because I haven't released any of that, but he's a photographer, and he was taking my photos for my graduation photos. We did like a little photo shoot, and whole time he's taking my photos, He's also organizing my engagement, my proposal, like downstairs in another room. And it just was very beautiful. After taking photos, he walked me into that room, and in there was like all of our family and our closest friends. And it couldn't have been any more perfect than it was at the timing that God designed for us. And so, yeah, we got married shortly after, very shortly after, because we knew that that's what we wanted to do. We knew that that's what God wanted from us. So we got married, and here we are. He will definitely be on the podcast. He would probably be the first man to ever be on the Good God Girl podcast. But I'm so excited because, like, y'all have really been there with me through, like, all of the dating mistakes. Okay. Go back and listen to that podcast if you want to hear how hot of a mess I was. But, like, going from all of the dating mistakes to, just now living in God's kind of beautiful with the most amazing man that only God himself could have placed in front of me. Like, just perfect. And I love that for me. And I love that for you too, sis. Like, just know, if you are in your single season, enjoy it. Enjoy your single season. You know, like, just focus on, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent. But, you know, since we're on the topic of discussion, I might as well just go into it just a little bit. Like, I promise you, y'all heard how hot of a mess I was, like, when I was dating and doing things the way I wanted to do it, rushing, you know, into relationships that I had no business being in. Like, wait on the Lord, because, like, he knows your desires, he knows your heart, and the relationships that, you know, you deserve to be in. And I'm so grateful that those things messed up. I'm just so grateful that those things never worked out, because God knew exactly who I needed to be with. He knew exactly the type of love that I deserved, and it was the type of love that God gives me and gives all of us every day, just in the form of another beautiful human. So just wait on God, y'all. It's coming. I promise. Actually, I don't promise. Take that back. Wait on the Lord. Listen to him, not me. So a lot of exciting things have been happening over the course of the year, but there were also some things that, you know, happened over the past year. And actually, one of the main reasons why I decided to take a break from the Good God Girl podcast was because last year, a little bit over a year now, actually literally the day after I recorded the last episode of The Good God Girl, I got a phone call and learned that one of my best friends, my little sis is what I always call her, passed away unexpectedly. And it took me for a turn. It took me for a whole turn. Like, I already got my cries out because I recorded this episode, and I'm recording it for the second time because it just was so terrible. But yeah, I lost my little sister. And for those who don't know, I lost my best friend, Khadijah, in 2019. And my best friend, my little sis, we were all like the Three Stooges, like all three of us. They were my A1s since day ones. Like, we were like family, you know? And it just was really hard. It was a really hard time for me. And I struggled a lot. Over this past year. I struggled a lot with learning and coming to the fact that I was not okay. I was not okay. And I decided to take a break from the Good God Girl for over a year because I was just that not okay. Like, I was in a really bad space. And I was in a really bad space, like, emotionally, mentally, partially because this happened, like, right before my last semester of nursing school. And I chose not to take a break from nursing school. I chose to keep going. And I don't think I was able to really process and really address the grief that I just experienced and the loss that I just experienced, because I also had to, or chose to, continue with school. And because I was continuing with school, I also had to hold on to my job because my job was paying for school. And so I don't think I gave myself time to really process, and I did not give myself time to fully process like what had happened, the loss that I just experienced. And I really think that that affected me even more, because it led me to a point where like my heart became so hard and numb. Like it was already numb. Like it was already numb. And just continuing on having to compartmentalize, the things that I was experiencing, to tend to school, to tend to work, to show up, for others, to show up, just life, right? Like I needed to step away from the things that I could step away from in order to tend to the other things that I needed to tend to. And so, unfortunately, one of those things ended up being the good God girl. But fortunately, it was the good God girl, because y'all, the way my heart was set up over this past year was not okay. It was not good God girl. It was not God's kind of beautiful. It was not very demure, okay? It was not cutesy, not mindful, not demure at all. And I had no business being on this mic. So it was a hard decision, but a very responsible decision to kind of take a break from the good God girl. Yeah, so this past year, I just was in a really tough space. And it was so hard for me because grief is hard no matter who or what you're grieving. Like grief is not something easy for us, especially when it's so like unexpected. And I just was so angry, like because I had already gone through this. Like in 2019, when I unexpectedly lost, my best friend Khadijah, I'm like, I literally thought like there's no way that I would have to endure this type of pain, like for like this loss again, because I've already gone through this. Like, God, you got me. I'm cool, because I don't think I can get any worse than this. Like, I don't think I can hurt any worse than this, to be frank. Like, I was at a real low, and then life was like, bet, we'll see about that, and and it just threw me for a turn. And I just was so angry, because it's like, God, like, why do I have to go through this again? Like, I'm still working through, what happened just a few years ago, and now I got to go through it again. Like, I got to go through this again, like all of this. And I was so angry. Like, aside from the fact that, like, yes, like, man, like, I just lost somebody who, like, means so much to me. Like, I lost somebody who means so much to me. And I lost somebody again who means so much to me. And now I got to, like, go through this process of, like, grief all over again. It was very hard, and I was very angry and frustrated at God. And y'all, it's really bad. I was so angry at God, because like it got to the point where I felt like I hated him. Like, and I know, like, it sounds really bad saying that, but I'm keeping it real with y'all. I'm keeping it really real. Like, I felt like I hated him, and not for real. Like, like when you're a kid, because I'm childish, when you're a kid and like you're so angry at somebody and you want to tell them I hate you, not because you hate them, but because you're so angry, you just want to make them mad. Like, you're just so I just was so angry because for so many reasons. But I was also angry because like grief is so lonely. Like it's such a lonely process. And, the first time, felt lonely, but I was so grateful because I had Lex and she knew exactly how I felt because we lost our best friend, like she knew and she understood. But this time around was very hard because I lost Lex. Like the person that I'm grieving is the person that like I would call in this situation or who I would lean on in this situation. And of course, like I have my husband and I was in therapy and all the things, but I was missing the person who like would have helped me through this process because she understood, and that was really hard. And, it leads me to another thing. I'm going to go off on a tangent. I don't care. I'm going to go off on a tangent. But, like, check on your strong friends. Like, check on your strong friends. And I use that in quotations because everybody is going through some stuff. But those strong friends, like, it was very frustrating. It was a very frustrating year and a very frustrating time because people assumed after a little bit of time that you are okay. People assume that, because you can show up in school, you can show up at work, you can put a smile on your face, that you're okay. And like, no one understood or seen the pain that I was experiencing at the time. I felt very unseen. Like functional depression is a real thing. There are people that get up and smile in your face every single day. There are people that you call and you vent to about your problems, and those people are hurting so bad and you have no idea. So I went on a tangent to say check on your strong friends. And now I come back because that could be a whole episode, and maybe it will be, but check on your strong friends because I was not okay. I was in a deep, dark hole, and nobody seen it. It wasn't apparent, and I felt like I just didn't have anybody, and yeah, I guess the one person who, you lean on in those times, I wanted nothing to do with. And God, obviously, is what I'm talking about. I didn't want anything to do with God at all. I didn't want anything to do with God. And, that's exactly where the enemy wanted me to be. Like, at my lowest, in a deep, dark hole, all alone, and turned away from God, like wanting nothing to do with God. There's a scripture. I'm going to read the scripture because it's so real. It's so important. But it is in 1 Timothy 5. It's in 1 Timothy 5. And I read this a long time ago, but it's something that just really speaks out to me, and it is so important for us. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And y'all, he was eating me up. Okay? Eating me up. Gobble, gobble. Okay? But he was eating me up because I just was in such a bad space. I was so angry. I was so mad. I didn't want nothing to do with God. But at the same time, I knew, like, ironically enough, that God was the only one who could get me out of this hole, like, and I got to a space where, like, I just was so sick and tired of, like, being so angry. I was sick and tired of, like, feeling so sad. I was so sick and tired of my heart being so hardened. Like, y'all, I could literally feel how cold I was. Like, I could feel how hard my heart was, and I just was so, that's a bad space to be in, and I did not want to be there any longer. And I knew that God was the only person who could soften my heart. God was the only one who could soften my heart. And so, like, it just, I'm going on just this long story and everything because I just want to be really real with y'all. This is where I've been over the past year plus. This is what I've been doing, is really like working to unlearn some things, working to learn how to love God again, working to learn how to know God again, to trust God again. And during that time, like, I really contemplated and was asking God, like, what do you want from me? You know, like, what do you want from this? Because our life, our testimony is not for us to keep inside for ourselves. It is, you know, to be shared with others for His glory, right? To maybe help or encourage someone who may be going through something very similar, right? And I knew that God, despite how ugly, like, just this loss and the things that I have been through, because this isn't even the precipice. I think that's the right term. Let me not try to use big words, but this is not even like, this is, I'm just scratching the surface of this type of this stuff, right? For the sake of this podcast. But, you know, like, it's for His glory. And I knew that God wanted to use this. How though, right? Like, I was debating, like, God, like, do you want me to continue with the Good God Girl? You know, do you want, is this something that I'm calling quits on? Do I keep going? I don't know what to do. Obviously, we're here, we're back, and we better. So we know that that was not it. But if, like, God, you want me to continue with the Good God Girl, then, like, what do you want me to talk about? Because, like, this is all of Him, none of me. Like, I go to God first before I come to this mic. I go to God first before everything comes from God. And so I'm like, God, what do you want me to talk about? And it wasn't until one day I was, like, at an event. I helped to plan this event for African American mothers who have lost their children. And I was sitting in the healing circle. And man, like, it just hit me like, girl, like, you have been asking and asking and asking what you want me to talk, what I want you to talk about. And your heart has been so hardened that you haven't even been able to see. Like, I've been talking to you this whole time, but your heart has just been so hard. You have not been able to see, you know? And the word specifically was grief. Grief was what the Lord wanted me to, grief was what the Lord wanted me to focus on for the Good God Girl. And He made that very clear, not just through my life and some of the things that I've endured, but also because of seeing, like, other people, like other Good God Girls, right? So many people are experiencing grief, and so many people are alone in that. So many people are in dark holes, and so many people don't know how to get out. And this life that we live is very real. This life we live is very real. It's full of loss. It's full of heartache. It's full of suffering. And so many people feel like they can't continue. And, you know, the Good God Girl is really all about being there for that girl who feels like that, who is going through that. And the Lord made that very clear to me that this was what He wanted me to talk about. Now, I will say, we're not going to be boohoo crying every single week, okay? Every single episode. That's not it, because grief is so expansive. Like, it's so broad. Like, it's not just like having to do with the death of a physical person or a physical being. It could be, you know, it's the loss of something, right? And the process of going through, like, the loss of something and understanding that loss. That may be a job, that may be a relationship, that may be a season in life, that may be an idea of yourself, an idea of, there's so many things, the list goes on, but we out here grieving and we're going through it alone. And I'm here to let you know, we're not doing none of that over here at the Good God Girl. You got me and I got you, and we're going to get through this together. We're on the healing bus. We're hopping off the struggle bus and we're getting on the healing bus, and we are finna ride this bus to our healing and to God's Kind of Beautiful, but we are going to do it together. So, man, I have to leave you with like the rest of the scripture that I was just reading. The rest of it, so important. It says to resist the devil, steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same sufferings are experienced by your brotherhood in the world. So, we all out here going through it, but we not gonna let that weigh us down, okay? We're here. I got you. I promise. So, stay tuned for more episodes of The Good God Girl. Because the girlies requested it, I'm now on the YouTube. So, yeah, I'm here. But stay tuned, y'all. God's doing something awesome. He's doing something amazing in my life. He's doing something amazing in your life. And I'm just so excited to see what's to come. So stay tuned. Subscribe to The Good God Girl on YouTube. Hit that follow and subscribe button on all your favorite listening platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. The list goes on. Find one. And yeah, make it pop. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but I love y'all.